Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Moyna Bass Fishers. I'm Jim Moyna, professional bass fisherman. In this video, I'm going to discuss day 3 of practice here at the 2024 Bassmaster Open on Lake Ouachita, Ouachita. Today this is our third day in a row of cloudy weather, cool weather. Probably never got to 50 degrees, probably like 45 maybe. Rain for at least till about noon or so, maybe 1 o'clock. We had rain. So it was one of those kind of days. And the fishing for me was extremely difficult. Not sure what was going on, but I did not catch much until the second half of the day. And during the second half of the day, I probably caught like 4 or 5, which so that bites are at a premium, and it shouldn't be that way. It should not be the case. It should be better than this. I'm underperforming, but I am learning. I'm learning what to do. I'm learning what not to do. More what not to do than what to do. But it's that's just how practice goes. I got a full day tomorrow, then a half a day Wednesday, because that's all they give us on Wednesday, and then tournament starts on Thursday. So, anyways, let me just I'm telling you how I'm struggling in that. One thing I'd like to point out is I know some of you guys leaving comments have good intentions. You're well meaning. You're just putting your kindness forward, and you're sharing how-to information, how to catch fish out here in the comments. And I just need to remind people that we are under a no information restriction right now until the tournament's over. So, everybody's got good intentions, but let's not put me in this awkward position of having information sent to me through your comments. So just want to make that note. So, anyways, caught a couple of weird fish today. Just not what I was targeting. Caught a nice striper today, and caught this massive, humongous freshwater drum, or sheephead is what we call it in Minnesota. It was a huge sheephead, just ginormous sheephead. And that's over, pictures of those fish are over on my Facebook page. That's probably like top three. Sheephead of all time for me. I mean, it was huge. It was so thick and heavy, and just rotund. I mean, it might have been 20 pounds. I don't know, but I remember catching a super huge one on Kentucky Lake way long ago, practicing for a Redman regional tournament, way like early 90s. Remember catching just a huge one back then. But this one, and that one, I mean, as I recall, that one was probably even bigger than the one I caught today, but I don't know, it's been so long. The one I caught today ranks probably two. Well, I don't know for sure. It could be one, but 1, 2, or 3, maybe four, top 5 for sure of all time for me. Massive sheephead. Um, Dang, it was, and I knew it wasn't a bass. I mean, right away I knew it wasn't a bass. I mean, sheephead have a unique way of fighting, and you can tell that it's not a bass. So, anyhow, as far as um, what else? I'm not going to get too much into technique right now. I've got like, I mean, I pulled out a whole bunch of extra rods today, re-rigged some bunch of stuff, trying to stumble into something that will trigger the fish. And actually, most of the fish I caught later in the day, I caught on a bait that I've never even thrown until today. So that's interesting. Well, I don't really like fishing that way, but if it's if it's if it's producing bites, then I do like fishing that way. So um, tomorrow, what am I? So we're gonna get some sunshine tomorrow, I believe, which is will be the first sunshiny day we've had here, and it's been hard enough to catch them, and I can't imagine how hard it's gonna be to catch them tomorrow after even a colder night tonight. The clouds, last I looked, the clouds have cleared out, and so I really think we're gonna cool down tonight into the 30s, I believe. And that's going to drop the water temperature a couple more degrees, but there still should be a good morning bite deep. And then maybe by the end of the day, maybe some shallow fish might be biting with that sun beating on the water all day. But I don't think it's supposed to get too, I mean, maybe 50, 55. I don't know. I'll have to double check the weather forecast. So, yeah, so that's, oh, and then the other thing I didn't mention, which, dang, I was up till midnight last night, and the reason why is because you ever have a spinning reel where all of a sudden it's just the crank on it, especially after the spinning reel gets wet. I've had this happen a few times before. And the spinning reel will get wet, whether it's rain or whether it falls in the lake, whatever. It gets wet, and then for some reason, the handle becomes extremely difficult to crank, and it feels gritty and grindy. So I had a reel do that to me, and I decided I was going to fix it last night. Well, I spent 3 hours on that reel, and I believe I did fix it. There was no part broken, no nothing. All it just needed to be cleaned. So I took it all apart, wiped down the components, put in some fresh grease on some of the gears, put in some oil and some in the bearings, and that reel worked really good today. So, but I was up till midnight. I started the project like at 9. And one thing about, if you ever worked on your reels before, you can have the whole thing torn apart in 20 minutes, right? So, which I did, but putting it back together was that was tricky. I mean, there were little roller bearings. Like there's this one bearing, it's like all rollers, and that came apart in like 3 pieces, not counting the 6 roller bearings. So I had to load each one of them tiny roller bearings into the, I don't know, into the bearing holder, whatever. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Anyways, had to get all those in there, and they were constantly, I'd get 3 of them in, and then I'd be working on the 4th one, and then 2 would fall out. So it was constant, add a couple, lose a couple, until finally I figured out what I had to do to get them all to stay in there. And then there's tiny screws, and the spring, the super tiny spring that was a pain in the butt to get that reattached. So it was it was an adventure, but I'm proud of myself for actually having a reel that works now. So actually did something right for once. Although I kind of partially broke one of the parts by accident, because I couldn't remember how some of these things went back together. I took all the parts apart, and I kind of grouped them as to where, what part of the assembly it came from. So they're little groupings, and that roller bearing thing was the thing I couldn't remember, and how that attached to the spring, that was the thing I struggled trying to figure that out, but I must have done it right because the reel worked good today. So, but it was one of those, there's a little arm off one of those, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, but that little arm, I kind of partially broke it. It's still attached, but it's only probably a matter of time before that just goes completely, and then I'll just have to buy that part. All right, so enough of that for tonight. I am going to end this video now and go to bed. So anyways, thanks for watching. Oh.